SportsBeat is powered by KSLSports.com.
Thanks for watching us on this Sunday. Jeremiah Jensen, Sam Farnsworth. Tonight on the show, we look back at the rivalry game. David Nixon and Stevenson Sylvester are back for another season of Film Breakdown. I go one-on-one with Utah linebacker Francis Bernard. The streak is now 9 games. Utah extended their win streak over BYU in a 30-12 win at LaVell Edwards Stadium. A heavy dose of Zach Moss and 20 points off BYU turnovers were the difference. Here's a look back at the latest chapter in the rivalry.
Gun with Moss to his right. A 3-step drop. Flushed. Cuts back on the run. Forced to the near side. Not gonna get there! He is rocked by a trio of Cougars. Huntley hands off Moss. And Moss is, he gets out of a tackle at the 1, gets around another at the 1, and gets all the way out to the 10-yard line. Keeper left, and not much there. A conservative play, a safety play for Utah.
Looking to throw, stepping, throwing, intercepted! It's picked off in the flat! That's Francis Bernard, 25-20, 15, 10-5, and it's a touchdown! It's a house call for Bernard!
There's a lot of emotions going on just because, this place is special to me. I spent 2 years here, and I enjoyed my time here. But to go out the way, we went out, it was fun, and getting that pick 6 was amazing.
Wins left and right, play fake. Picks up 2 blockers, running away as Wilson does well to evade 2 on-rushing defenders. A stutter step, a takeoff, the 40, the 35-30, the 25-20, the 15-yard line for Zach Wilson. And calls for the ball, and bobbles the snap, picks it up. He's got defenders on him, scrambles left, back to his right, goes down at the 20-yard line.
Motion man Covey. I gotta hand it to him. He's gonna try to get the edge to the pylon, touchdown. That's Jalen Dixon, and he's in. That's a Utah touchdown. To hand it off. This time the ball's out. Utah says they've got it. The ball's out at the 22-yard line. Do they? Utah pointing like they've got the football. We'll wait for the officials' call. Utah still pointing, and there it is. Mika Tafua. Have yourself a drive, young man. Tyler takes the snap, hands it to Zach Moss, end zone touchdown! BYU's been mossed from 4 yards out. Pressure coming, throwing outside, nearly caught and intercepted! Intercepted Julian Blackman, 20, 15, 10-5, touchdown! Touchdown! Blackman with the pick 6! His second in as many years on his cousin Zach Wilson.
We never gonna lose to them. They so poo-poo. Y'all can tweet that.
Wilson with a sprint out after looking middle, throws on the run far side. Catch made at the 10-yard line by Gunnar Romney. Zach shotgun, handoff Tyson Williams. Tyson sidestep, runs into a blocker at the 5, keeps the legs turning all the way to the end zone. What a run by Tyson Williams.
There is lightning in a 5-mile radius, which means the game is suspended as of right now.
I think I had a Rice Krispie, some oranges, and we stretched a little bit.
And that will be the final snap of the night. Victory formation. 9 is no longer coming. 9 has arrived here at LaVell Edwards Stadium in Provo, Utah. For a 9th consecutive time in the rivalry series, the University of Utah has beaten the BYU Cougars. Tonight's final score 30-12, and it's a great night to be a Ute here in Provo, Utah.
It's gonna sting right now, but as leaders and as guys were saying in the locker room afterwards, is that we have to move on because this isn't gonna define our season.
College football is back, and that means David Nixon and Stevenson Sylvester are back on SportsBeat, taking a deep dive into some game film.
And, of course, the game that we're diving into, that 9th straight win by the Utes. And, you know, Zach Moss was a feature piece in this win. He had a great game.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, you look back at his night. The first half started a little slow. It wasn't the typical Zach Moss like we saw from last year. He was kind of trying to bounce it outside a little more than he should have.
No, and I think that was a play calling and Andy Ludwig getting to know his players a little more, and they were running a lot of outside runs, which is Zach Moss has the capability of doing it. It just didn't seem like it was working, and that offensive line was probably in the first game jitters and just didn't get it going. But as you can see here, everything got blocked up, and that first half BYU defense did a great job containing him. But in that second half, he really started to turn things around.
Yeah, credit goes to Ludwig for going at halftime, making some adjustments, saying, listen, we're going to feed Zach Moss, our prolific running back. We're going to feed him and make him go north and south, and sure enough, it paid dividends.
Definitely, definitely. And I definitely wanted to check out this play right before his second half touchdown here. You got 8 guys. You got 5 offensive linemen and a truck formation, which means your tight ends here, here, here. Fotheringham does a great job of getting inside technique on this D end to kick him out. Nick Ford does a great job of smashing down the D end so the guard has him, pancake, and then gets over here to the linebacker to get Zach Moss on the secondary, which is what you did all last year, and it worked for success. So Ludwig is going to have to do a lot more plays like that coming up this season.
Man, what a night. And then you got to flip it over to this defense. The Ute defense, this is typical Ute defense, creating turnovers, big plays, and sure enough, Blackman coming up with another interception. We saw last year. This year as well comes up with a big interception.
Yeah, and this is all about pre-snap reads here for Zach Wilson, the quarterback. You know it's covered 2. You see both safeties high here, and you got 5 defenders underneath. It's either 2-man or 2-zone. And by this alignment, by Tariq Lewis, he does a great job right here of funneling this receiver inside. And as he does that, he sees Zach Wilson's eyes. So it just helps him out, undercuts the receiver, undercuts the ball. The receiver didn't even know the ball was coming, and he missed it. Tariq Lewis should have had his interception, and if you see back there, he was
trying to give Blackman some nice pat his stats a little bit, give him a nice little pick, his buddy back there. Here you go. Here's a free present for you.
Yeah, but Blackman's athleticism is so great, and it was definitely put on display right there. You see him take it to the house.
Turnovers, guys. BYU, I'll tell you what. It's the name of the game with this rivalry, turnovers, and Utah capitalizes on it.
Well, I know it's frustrating for BYU, but Utah does this to everyone. That's why that defense is so successful. They're very opportunistic. Now they take on Northern Illinois. How about breakfast at Rice Eccles? What do you say, huh? We're ready.
I'll be there.
11 a.m. on Saturday.
Yeah, more from David and Sly in a bit. First, though, the NFL gets started next week. But for now, how about a big college game on Sunday? 4th-ranked Oklahoma hosting Houston. You probably remember Jalen Hurts as Alabama's former quarterback. Now he's slinging for the Sooners. To Jeremiah Hall for the opening score, 7-0. Second quarter, stepping up into the pocket. And look at this rifle. 45 yards to CeeDee Lamb, 21-0. Third quarter, Hurts goes over the middle to Charleston Rambo. 56-yard touchdown. Hurts passed for 332 yards and 3 touchdowns. He rushed for 176 and 3 touchdowns. Set the Oklahoma record for total offense in a debut in their big win over Houston.
All right, we have to take a short break. When we return, we break down the BYU game film.
And we take a nostalgic look back at the history of this BYU-Utah rivalry.
It was hard just because I just never in my life had I had football taken away from me.
Francis Bernard thought his college football career might be over. I have a conversation with Francis about overcoming the challenges that ended his time at BYU and finding redemption with the Utes.
Can't take a sack here. Can't take that either. Intercepted.
Well, Utah State's got a lot to be excited about, but a few things that need to get fixed. We'll recap their season opener at Wake Forest after this.
SportsBeat is powered by KSLSports.com.
Welcome back to SportsBeat. Sly and David Nixon still in studio with us as we continue to break down the rivalry game.
Yeah, turnovers seem to always be the story of these rivalry games. Utah benefited again, and this time they turned those turnovers into points. Sly.
Yes. The game started off great. You know, Utah and BYU both had a 3-3 tie, and BYU was driving until somebody wanted to be a hero.
Yeah. Well, listen, Zach Wilson, he's an electric player. He's a fantastic quarterback, but he's still young, and he's still trying to figure out this offense. And this is one of those plays where he's trying to create a little bit too much. He sees Tyson Williams in the flat. He thinks he can get the ball to him, but instead, Bradley and I did a fantastic job of coming around the edge. He wraps him around the legs, and he brings him down. In doing so, throws the ball off a little bit. But I like this initial. He steps in the pocket. You see his eyes scan the defense, and he gets out. But right here, He's got to feel the defender around his legs, and he's just got to eat the ball. You just got to tuck it and live to fight another day. It was 2nd and 2. It would have been about 3rd and 7, and you don't put points on the board for the opposing team. But this was a backbreaker because this has been the story of the rivalry, like you said, JJ. Turnovers, and sure enough, BYU in that first half turns the ball over and gives 7 points to Utah.
I know BYU didn't come out with the win, but there were some good positives to take away from this. Offensively, they did some good things.
Yeah, coming into this game, Tyson Williams was kind of the showpiece for this BYU offense. Here's a great run by Tyson. He only had 3 carries in the first half, and I think all BYU fans are a little disgruntled that he didn't get more carries throughout the game. But this is one of those plays where BYU called up a great play by Jeff Grimes. We're going to have a field blitz by the 2 backers, Lloyd and Bernard, and BYU's going to run away from it. And you see a center pool here by Impey. He's going to come up and get up on the second level, and Tyson gets out in the open. Big game by BYU. And this is something that, as you fast forward to Tennessee, BYU has to have. They have to run the ball. As we saw yesterday against Tennessee, they struggled against Georgia State stopping the run. So BYU, Tyson Williams, feed him the rock.
Man, but also that BYU defense in that first half was electric. What were some of those takeaways that you want to have for that?
Listen, we won't talk about the second half. Second half was a different story. BYU's defense started to struggle a little bit. But you're right, in the first half, I think this play right here epitomizes it all. Fantastic job of pursuing here on the 4th down to stop Hundley before getting to the first down marker. What I like about this is the pursuit. I feel like all the guys were amped and ready to go. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 guys pursuing. Great angles, inside out, outside in here, and they're able to make the big stop. The players were feeding off that energy, but coming out of the second half, credit to Utah and their coaching staff, made some great halftime adjustments. BYU didn't, and Utah controlled the entire second half.
Look, I know there's a lot of negativity with BYU fans right now. They're really frustrated with that loss, but Tennessee's a beatable team. Mm-hmm. We know the news out coming out of USC today. They're a beatable team. BYU can go win these 2 games, and all of a sudden you have a different perspective on this season.
100%. If you ask any BYU fan before the start of the year, if they could go 2-2 in the month of August, September, I think 100% of the people would take it. And I think you're staring at it. If BYU can gather themselves together and not be too down on this game, I think they have a legitimate shot going to Knoxville this week, knocking them off, and then coming home and beating USC, and then we'll see about Washington, who looked pretty good yesterday.
We'll break down that Tennessee game next week, guys.
Thanks.
Great way to start the season. And here's that college football injury news that will impact both BYU and Utah. USC quarterback JT Daniels tore his ACL on this play in the Trojans' 31-23 win over Fresno State. BYU plays USC on September 14th at LaVell Edwards Stadium. Utah visits the Coliseum on the following Friday, September 20th. Freshman Keaton Slovis replaced Daniels against Fresno State and will be the starter. Utah linebacker Francis Bernard had a pick-6 against BYU Thursday, 4 years after scoring a touchdown in the Las Vegas Bowl as a BYU Cougar against the Utes. His college football journey hasn't been conventional. Off-the-field troubles caused him to leave BYU. Now he's finding redemption with the Utes. I sat down with Francis before Thursday's big game to discuss his turnaround.
How would you describe, up to this point, your college football journey and experience?
Man, it's definitely been a roller coaster. You know, I've had lots of highs, and then I've had lots of lows where I've had to reevaluate myself to see whether football was something that I wanted to do, and had to see if it was something I wanted to take serious. But I'm here now, and I'm excited that Utah gave me another opportunity to be back, and now I'm back up on that high.
Your struggles are well documented. As you were going through that process, you mentioned reevaluating yourself and deciding whether you really wanted to play football. What was that experience like as you tried to figure all that out while you were going through a difficult time?
Man, it was hard just because I just never in my life had I had football taken away from me, or any sport. My parents pushed my family all my siblings to play sports growing up, and so we just were known just to play sports, whether it was football, basketball, baseball, whatever it was. And so for the first time in my life, I had gotten in trouble and was messing up, and it was just kind of looking at my life like, hey, I don't, what am I doing with my life? And so when it was taken away from me, I really had to figure out, hey, all right, do I get back up on my feet, or do I just stay down to the ground and, pretty much crumble? And so it took me a little bit to get back on my feet, but, I had some people along the way, be right there every step of the way to help me realize, hey, there's always a way back, and when you get back, don't look back.
Were you worried you'd never get a chance to play college football again?
Yeah, I was. as soon as things happened to me, I kind of just hit rock bottom. And I had a job at the time too, and even that job, I stopped going to work just because it felt weird. I felt like everyone was looking at me differently. People were treating me differently, and so I just thought, man, like, I might as well just quit and give up just because I'm at the bottom. I might as well stay here. But I'm fortunate enough for those people that helped me out, get back on my feet.
So you get a second chance here. Why here, and why has it worked out?
Growing up, I always wanted to play here. I didn't get a scholarship offer from University of Utah in high school, and so coming here was always like a goal. And so when I got the opportunity from the coaching staff saying that even with things going on, they were still willing to give me a scholarship offer, I just took it and ran with them. Like, yeah, that's where I want to go. That's what I want to be a part of.
Fast forward to now, you're a starter, you're a senior, and you're expected to be a leader. How have things changed for you, and how are you handling this new role that you have on this team?
I'm handling it great. Thanks to the guys last year, Chase and Cody, I looked at them as great examples of being great leaders. They were the hardest workers on the team. I took it upon myself this offseason to be the hardest worker too. And it goes to show I got selected to be on the leadership council, and I'm just embracing it. I'm not shying away from it. Anything that comes my way, I'm embracing it and just going to run with it.
Nobody understands the rivalry quite like you do. What's it like being on both sides and experiencing both sides?
My very first experience was the 2015 Las Vegas Bowl, and just all the hype stuff going up. Like, we got here at the University of Utah, we have the hate video going up of the 8 in a row games. Yeah. They got, down south, they got something very similar going on, all their wins and stuff. But it's funny now that I look back on it because there's no recent wins. So I think that's funny. I'm like, dang. And so when I was down south, we were always, that team, like, dang, we're going to break the streak. We're going to break the streak. Now, being on the side, we're like, yeah, we got to keep the streak. It's been amazing to have my eyes open up to why it is that University of Utah has been dominant, the past 8 times. It's because of the work we put in day in and day out. I'm not saying that BYU doesn't put work in, but man, we grind over here. We grind like no other team grinds in the country, and it's the reason why we win games, and it's the biggest reason why we're going to go and do big things this year.
There's probably a lot of people watching this right now that maybe went through similar struggles that you went through. Do you have a message for them?
Just don't give up. Even when you think, life just keeps throwing things at you and you think you're gonna be at the bottom and stay at the bottom, know that there's always a way out, and when you get out, stay out. Keep moving forward, don't look back, and I promise you things will always be better when you come back.
That's a great message. Well, the Utah State Aggies also kicked the season off over the weekend. Jordan Love, he showed the skill set that comes with a Heisman Trophy candidate, but 3 interceptions and an opposing quarterback that matched him throw for throw. That ended up being the difference in the Aggies' season-opening loss.
To the sideline and reeled in. There's Mariner again.
What a throw and a catch.
Love will hand it off to Bright. Broken tackle. Touchdown, Utah State.
What an answer on offense against this defense.
Newman just coughed up the football. It's picked up by Utah State. Love will go long. Completes it to Mariner inside the 15. Love looking that way. Instead, he'll float it on the fade. It is intercepted. It is a handoff for Jalen Warren, and there he goes. An explosive end to an explosive quarter. A rush of 4. Love delivers through it, and it's caught by Nathan. What a throw, what a catch. Touchdown, Utah State. Here he goes. Scotty Washington wins it. 7 on 7 for 6. Newman hit as he throws, balls out.
I think that's David Woodward again.
It sure was. Love will float it for the end zone.
Whoa. Oh, man. Did he tap the right foot down?
After further review, it was determined that the receiver's right toe was in bounds. Touchdown.
Stay on the ground. Carney, patient. Zone read. Newman has it this time for the Wake Forest touchdown. Get airborne, baby. And look at this hurdle by Jordan Nathan. How about that? That's catching some air. Here's Devin Tompkins, the slot receiver, with a burst. Good night, Devin. Newman will go the other way this time. And Newman is sacked. What a play from Christopher Unga. It's a pass here, and it's intercepted. Maybe that's right. By Amari Henderson. Utah State had the last tally, and here comes Wake Forest. Beal Smith romps into the end zone. Oh, big hole for Warren right away. Got a block. Jalen Warren can go. We're enjoying this. This is awesome. You never know how much you miss college football until you're back at a game like this, right? Love, 3rd and 6, clean pocket, a strike. It's Caleb Rebb, the grad transfer. It's a handoff here. It's a touchdown for Jalen Warren. Newman to throw it. Hinton high points it. Just like that. Wake Forest taking the lead. Kevin, have they left too much time on the clock? He needs 10 of it at once. Complete. It's Mariner. From the 31, Love. Can't take a sack here. Can't take that either. Intercepted. Justin Sternad. Now it's victory formation for Wake Forest, and they get out of here with a 38-35 victory.
Heartbreaking loss for Utah State. And look, I know the program's come a long way, and they've done so many great things, but I know the fan base is frustrated that they keep coming close but not quite with these Power 5 games. They got to win some of these games to take the next step with their program.
They've got opportunities. They got big games coming up on the schedule still, and I think one thing I learned from watching that game is that they do have playmakers. They lost a lot of playmakers from last year's team. Obviously, Jordan Love is back, but he still has targets and weapons to go with that offense. I think there's still a lot of room to grow, though, and they will get better.
Absolutely. That big one on the Bayou.
Yeah.
In Baton Rouge, Death Valley against LSU in October. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but we still have more from BYU and Utah coming up.
Yeah, highlight-filled look into the past. Before we turn that page to the 2020 rivalry, we'll take a trip through the great history between BYU and Utah. It's coming up next.
If you believe the University of Utah, Thursday was the 100th meeting between BYU and Utah. The Cougars claim it's number 94. No matter who you believe, the history between these two schools is very rich.
Yeah, it's always fun to look back, too, at the history and some of the great moments that have been made in this rivalry, which makes it one of the best in the nation.
Yeah! Give me a kick! Kanashiro's kick is on the way. It hits the goalpost! It hit the goalpost! It is no good! Oh my goodness!
Lavelle Edwards is a University of Utah alum.
Staley is the tailback. Here is Doman rolling to the right side. He's going to keep it. He's at the 5, the 3. Is he in there? Touchdown! Lavelle Edwards has led this BYU team to an amazing 34-27 victory. And can you believe it? 6 years in a row.
They don't like us and we don't like them. It's going to be a bloodbath.
The game is over. The dream has been realized.
We're just, excited to even play against a great team like this.
Beck to throw. Coverage down there. Across the middle. Hums it. Caught to Harleen.
A PAT conversion here, and it's a 4-point lead.
Final play of the game. All the time in the world for Beck. Can anybody get open for it? He'll roll right. Lets it go.
I don't like Utah. In fact, I hate them. I hate everything about them. I hate their program. I hate their fans. I hate everything. I think the whole university and their fans and the organization is classless.
BYU 4-man rush. Throwing it over the middle. It's caught. Andrew Dorr. Touchdown BYU.
Snap is back. The hold is down. It's long! Utah wins! Utah wins!
Attempt to try to send it to overtime, and it hit the upright.
Northern York, the battering ram.
Many players on the football team that actually has never lost to these. This is Utah's world, and BYU's living in it.
Picked up by Hatfield. Down the near sideline, 25-20, 15-10, 5, touchdown Utah.
Taysom Hill in the gun, empties the backfield. Hill is going to keep it, and he won't get there.
He's left, jukes back to the right. There's the snap at his thigh. Quick fire, intercepted by Utah.
Touchdown!
Great clips of the week.
With 3 seconds left from 56 yards out. Does he have it? Yes, he does! Nevada wins! It's a gun! It's good!
Nevada walk-on kicker Brandon Tarleton beats Purdue with a 56-yard field goal as time expires. He found out after the game in the locker room that he won a lot more.
And last but not least, Steve. Yeah! Hey, he's from Vacaville. He's from Vacaville. We'll get to that. Charlie! Congratulations. Outstanding game ball and scholarship.
Oh, scholarship. How cool is that? All right, congratulations to former Utah Jazz man Joe Johnson. Best player in Ice Cube's Big Three Basketball League. He led his team, the Triplets, to the Big Three championship. This won't shock you. He hit that game-winning shot in the championship game.
College football, Jackson State versus Bethune-Cookman in Atlanta. A great catch for a touchdown by Jackson State's Warren Newman. The Jackson State mascot, what is going on? He got flagged for a penalty. I don't know what, he lost his mind right out on the field, but yeah, that was a penalty, 15 yards.
Yeah, you can't do that. A lesson to all the mascots out there. The punter that plays for St. Francis gets killed by a Lehigh player, showing no mercy. If you listen closely, I think you can hear the punter mumbling, I didn't sign up for this.
Ouch. Utah high school football, Olympus near the goal line, hoping to take a 28-20 lead over Kearns, but Kearns DB Jeff Bassa has different plans. Pick six, 95 yards for a touchdown. It was the difference in Kearns' win over Olympus.
Milford quarterback Bryson Barnes, number 10 right there, accounted for 9 touchdowns in his team's 58-35 win over Ogden. 5 touchdown passes, 4 touchdown runs. This is not a touchdown. 1 yard short, but channeling his inner John Elway from Super Bowl 32. A great effort by one of the best players in the state.
Oh, look at this.
And this is what happens when rich parents use bribes to get their kids into USC. A letter's missing here, kids. Unfortunately, the broadcaster doesn't seem to know how to spell right either. Despite the spelling issues in the student section, the Trojans get the win over Fresno State.
Mets and Phillies. Rajai Davis of the Mets trying to score, dives home to avoid the tag, instead takes out umpire Joe West. That is actually a perfect pancake block, my friends. I know some NFL teams that could probably use that. Look at Davis. Excuse me.
Did I do that? All right, we're going to catch our breath for a minute. But we still have some of the best stuff from the past weekend.
Yeah, the best plays, moments, and images from this week that was in high school football. The Game Night Live highlight reel is next.
The Hallowed Grounds, brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen.
Welcome into the Hallowed Grounds, episode 2. We're here at Willow Creek Country Club. Special guest this week, Toa Arfo. Okay. Oh no. If I was going to give one of these $500 pieces of equipment away, the Bushnell Hybrid Rangefinder, I'm giving it to Toa. So you are the first winner of the Hallowed Ground.
Hey, high school football this week. Our Game Night Live game of the week is in Sandy. The Alta Hawks will host the Orem Tigers in a monster matchup in 5A's Region 7. You can watch the game on the KSL TV app and KSLSports.com. Congratulations to Lone Peak. They beat Narbonne High in California 41-21. Narbonne was a top 10 team in the country. Well, each week on Game Night Live, Saturday at 6 p.m. right here on KSL, we showcase the best of the week in Utah high school football.
And so tonight, we leave you with a sample of that show. It's the highlight reel. Have a good one.